So what's really happening with home prices? That is a question that I'm getting asked consistently. And let's take a look at the historical chart before we can really interpret what's happening right now. If we look at this graph, it shows a beautiful aqua line, a steady one, which is the average rate of historical real estate increases at the 4% trend line. If we watch what happened in 04, 05, 06, 07-ish, right when we led to that Great Recession, we watched real estate get greatly priced over that 4% trend line, around 21% above trend. And then we all know what happened after that. We look at the period of time that followed that, and we see that we continue to increase almost at that 4% rate, but we still stayed well below what would have been the historical trend line, right? Based on the amount of inventory, the amount of human beings being added to this world. And so then when we experienced in the right part of this graph, we feel, the last 4 years we experienced this run up in pricing, and we feel like it's so profound, but we've got to remember that a good part of that was just bringing us back to that historical trend line to begin with. So that period of 2020 with increased values brings us almost to trend. And then in 2021 is actually the time when we finally crossed that threshold of what would have been that previous 4% trend line. 2022 put us way over. And at about 12% above trend line, that's where, we kind of felt that apex take place. And our projections for this year are a little more lateral. We do not expect pricing to come down significantly, at least in this part of the Northeast, because there is not a ton of inventory, something that we're going to talk about a little bit more later. But if we look at this historical trend line and where real estate is right now, if real estate holds steady with a balanced buyer and seller market price-wise for the next 3-4 years, we're going to be right back on that 4% trend. So before we consider that this market is going to absolutely collapse here, it is really important that we take a look back at the history and what led us here so that we can maybe look at that from a little different angle and think, although pricing is certainly on the high side, it might not be as high as we think.